3, 2, 1.
From the king of sports books comes the king of sports podcasts. Unleashed. Presented by BetMGM. Here's your hosts, Jerry Ferrara and Olivia Harlan-Dekker.
Unleashed is live in Glendale, Arizona, home to Super Bowl 57. Olivia Harlan-Dekker, Jerry Ferrara, coming to you from the BetMGM Sportsbook. We are so glad to be here. There's so much energy in this room. I mean, Jerry, we started the day off golfing. It's beautiful here in Arizona, and we are ending it with a guest of honor.
And it's someone who I consider a dear, dear friend who I have not seen physically in person for lots of reasons in a few years. So this is a heck of a way to reunite. Jay Glazer, buddy.
No doubt.
I know this is definitely...
my old training partner.
Yeah, I know this is definitely not an easy week to get some time at you. So,
Yeah.
But thank you for doing this.
Absolutely, man. No, I'm honored. Hey, you, anytime, anything you need, you know that, man. Loyalty is a dying art, man. I got to be loyal to my family. You're my family.
I love that. So at what point will you get some to take a breath? Is it not until
Monday.
the game's over?
Monday. So I leave here because we have a 5-hour pregame show on Fox, only on Fox.
Ooh.
We did a 3-hour show last night for the opening night. And then I had to do something on all the networks with Andy Reid and Nick Sirianni. Today we had our own Fox Media Day, so we had to do that. Tomorrow I'm throwing a party, Glazer Palooza, which I always throw the first party of the year. And I only call it Glazer Palooza. I started in 2007 here in Arizona at my house just to piss off like Strahan and Tony Gonzalez and them. No other reason. And then, we have a lot of Fox stuff that we have. Obviously, I had to do a Chiefs feature for the pregame show. We have rehearsals, and we have our 5-hour pregame show, the game, all that. And then I'm flying home Monday to LA. I got a house here in Arizona. I just moved back to LA, and I'm repacking my stuff, and I'm getting on a plane to Thailand. And I'm gonna go train in the jungles with some friends out there in Muay Thai and do a lot of mental health work. I got these monks out there that I work with, and I go to this place to like really kind of clean up and recharge my system, and I'm pretty excited. Yeah, man, Thailand is like the land of 1,000 smiles. They're such happy people out there, and for a guy like me with a fight background to go and train in Thailand, train in the jungles is pretty damn cool for me.
We could do this whole podcast just asking about your trip.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to restrain myself and ask you about last night, because you were at opening night.
Mm-hmm.
You were hosting it. You said 3 hours, right? I mean, that's a big show. And you're talking to players, you're talking to coaches.
Yeah.
First of all, for those who didn't watch, can you walk us through the news and everything you know today about Patrick Mahomes' ankle?
Way better than last week.
Amazing.
So, last week, right after the game, their divisional game, we got hurt. Right after the game, he started rehabbing. Wow. And then next 2 days, they got him running in a pool. The day after that, they got him running in an Ultra G, which is a treadmill that pulls you off the ground more so you don't put your full weight on the treadmill. And then they got him on the field. Like this dude, there's certain guys who are just superhuman, or just great healers. He's not a great healer. He's a superhuman healer. This is an injury that would sideline most, especially a running quarterback, 2 to 4 weeks. And there was and it was funny, do you remember him when he originally heard it and he was kind of throwing a fit on the sideline?
Yeah, he was screaming at the...
And the reason why is Andy Reid had told him, you're not going back in the game unless you get x-rays. And he's like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. He's like, I'm good. Like, nope.
Jay, I was working the sideline that game.
She was right
I was
there.
within arm's reach
really?
of Patrick, and I told Jerry afterwards, because there's only so much you can report live. It was the national radio broadcast, and had to kind of be careful. But I said it looked like an intervention of Bieniemy and Matt Nagy and Coach Reid just saying go
Rick
in the
Burkholder,
locker room.
their trainer. But they were just like, we're not letting you play unless you have x-rays.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, I'm good. I'm fine. I'm good. And they're like, no. So they have to protect him from himself. Because there are some guys who are just different. Patrick Mahomes is different.
Man.
So then
He's a superhuman healer.
You were
it's
not
ridiculous.
Although I'm sure you appreciate it, but you were not super shocked against the Bengals to see that performance. It wasn't.
No.
I mean, you appreciate it for what it was, but you weren't shocked by that.
No. He's when all is said and done, he'll be talked about in the category of the Bradys and the Jordans and the LeBrons and the Tiger Woods and people like that. The Serena Williams, yeah.
And I imagine when you're there covering and trying to get info, like, is this the hardest week to get info? This has to be the most tight-lipped that everyone is, especially when it comes to injuries and stuff like that.
No, I'm still pretty good. Like, no, as far as like my relationships are,
Right.
they're everything, right? So it's not like Super Bowl week, people clam up on me. You have relationships. And my relationships on both teams are really, really strong. Andy Reid and I are very close, have been for years and years and years. And then, a bunch of the Eagle players. Man, I've trained Eagle players for a long time. And you were in the gym. You were an Unbreakable performance in our gym when I first got Lane Johnson. I started training Lane Johnson, right? He lived with me and my son for 4 months. Wow. The funniest thing was, this is back in the day, my son was like 10 years old, and obviously I'm short, I'm 5'7", and Lane comes into our house and he sees out the two short, me and my son, and he goes, damn, I feel like Gandalf in this house.
I remember Lane's first day at Unbreakable, and I think I was finishing, and he was working out with players.
Throw up 8 times.
I was in the bathroom, like, washing my hands, and obviously this giant human being comes rushing in to the bathroom and to throw up, and I walked out, I'm like, that guy, I don't know if he's all right, and 7 more times later, and then he's been the best offensive lineman in football pretty much.
But what's the difference between him and everybody else? Everybody else, they would throw up, they wouldn't come back. He stayed for 4 months and came back another year and another year. Came back last year after one of his surgeries, his ankle surgery. And first time we put pressure on it. And we got back to some of our training. And our whole thing with him is, with all our players, we try to give them that fighter mentality. And a lot of that fighter mentality is it's your honor to fight hurt, right? Randy Couture is my partner in this, right? And Randy was this guy, he goes and breaks his arm.
He's never healthy.
Against Gonzaga, and he's like, oh man, I got a round before they stop it. I better go in this fight now, and slams him on his face and breaks his nose and finishes the fight. But he went in against Brock Lesnar with a torn elbow, and I was like, hey man, maybe we pull out of this fight. And he was like, what do you mean pull out of the fight? And I'm like, Randy, we haven't been able to lift. You're fucking tiny. Like, you're not. Wait, Brock is a monster. Let's go in full strength. And he's like, are you out of your mind, Jay? That's the whole point. Like, could you imagine if I could beat him at 50%? Even if I could just slam him at 50%, that's what makes me a warrior. No, and he just starts yelling at me. I'm like, whoa, slow down, cowboy. But that's what same thing with Lane. Man, it's your honor to fight hurt. And since he tore his groin, make no mistake, Lane Johnson is not playing on a pull. He tore his groin. It's torn, which needs surgery. And man, what he did to Bosa last week on one leg was ridiculous. But before every single game, I talked to him. I'm like, hey, remember this? It's your honor to fight hurt, right? And all these players, the great ones, Rondé Barber, he had the longest active streak of players of consecutive games played when he was playing. He's 179 pounds, and he had the longest active streak of players of consecutive games played when he had retired, and he played through, broken forearm, broken thumb, cracked knee, cracked shin, high ankle sprain, this and that. And same thing, he's like, man, if I could shut this guy down, knowing in my head I'm at 70%, that makes me a gangster. And that was his mentality. And a lot of these guys, Tony Gonzalez didn't miss a game for 15 years. And same thing, sprained ankles, this and that. The Strahans of the world, that's what makes you different. Lane has reached that level. He's different, right? It's his honor to fight hurt. He approaches the game as a fighter, no longer as a football player. And that's what we try and teach these guys.
Wow.
I mean, you talk about what makes you great. What makes you so great in your job is these relationships. You mentioned Andy Reid, Nick Sirianni. So much of the storyline is Reid facing his former team, and Sirianni, who got fired by Andy Reid, facing his former...
No, he didn't get retained. So he didn't get fired. He
got
retained.
Fair enough.
Different.
So what do you know that's going through both head coaches' mind right now as they approach this one?
So Andy's actually, enjoying it more.
Yeah.
So last week, I spent some time with him the other day. I had to go to Kansas City. So we spent a good amount of time. And he's like, you know what, man? I'm just enjoying this. He said, after the AFC Championship game, he said, I stayed up till 5:30 in the morning, returning every text. And then my wife yelled at me what are you doing? You're too old to be staying up all night. You got to be it. But he's like, I'm really just, now at this point, I'm just trying to enjoy those other things that I didn't enjoy in the past. And then Nick, I'm like, dude, it's not supposed to be this easy, right? But, in your second year. But when I went to Eagles camp this year, there are 3 teams this year that I said, man, these teams I think are going to be the teams to contend with. I was right on 2. I was wrong on 1. I was wrong on the Rams. I thought they had Bobby Wagner and Robinson, and man, things are going to go okay. The other one was the Vikings, because having Kevin O'Connell in there. I just thought the way he was going to change that culture, man, he was just going to vibe with them and get the most out of Kirk Cousins. And then the other one was the Eagles. And the reason why, when I went out to camp, it was so different in the confidence they had in Nick. Where last year it was like, okay, we're still trying to figure this dude out. Like, he came out of nowhere to be a head coach. His interview just happened randomly. He happened to be in Florida. He had no clothes with him. Showed up like he was surfing and just kind of blew him out of the water. And so they're like, this guy know what he's talking about. He's not know what he's talking like. So they're still trying to figure him out. But what he did in his rookie year, they ended up buying in. So this whole offseason, they really bought in. So when they went to camp and he was coaching, it's just a totally different. When you have the full confidence of everybody, and I saw the weapons I had, I said, this team's going to be a team that's going to be a contender. I picked them to win the NFC East, and I was like, man, they're going to be tough. And that was the reason why. He that whole culture bought into him. And when you're 100% sure on something, that takes away the hesitation. The hesitation is where you can get burned.
I think this is one of the. I was racking my brain earlier trying to figure out Super Bowls past. There's always, even if it's a close margin between the two teams, there's always a pretty clear favorite. And I really think this is a game where I cannot figure out. I know the sports books have, the Eagles are slightly favored, but when I just look at it, I really have no good beat on who should be favored in this game.
So I think it's the boxer versus the brawler.
Yeah.
And the brawlers are obviously the Eagles, right? They're just a physical team. Man, they will beat you up. They want to beat you up. And the boxer, the finesse team, is Kansas City, right? And you never know with that quarterback and that tight end, and what he does with all his weapons, right? They just kind of pick you apart, and it's like they're trying to hit you from the outside, and they can pick you apart, and he does, right? And eventually, he's just going to kind of outlast you on the scorecards, and he's the last man standing.
Yeah. I just can't. I don't know about you, Olivia. Like, I know, Chiefs are your second favorite. You say your second favorite team?
Yeah.
Like, Packers
I've got
won.
two. Packers
Chiefs
won.
are
I'm
AFC
from
team.
Kansas City.
Okay. Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So earlier when you
I
said
like
you
the plaza.
had to go to Kansas City,
I like the
was
plaza.
like a little
No,
offended.
let me tell you something about Kansas City, okay? You guys have this really fucked up haunted house out there. Do you know what I'm talking about? The gates of hell?
No.
Do you know? You don't know what this?
Oh, like the kind that you pay for on Halloween to go in?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah,
They're
I
like
went when I was
45
13.
minutes. Yeah, I went with Tony Gonzalez, Kyle Turley, and John Wellborn.
It's like an old warehouse, yeah?
It's an
scared?
old warehouse.
You're
It's
scared?
45 minutes.
That's
But
a lot.
halfway through, Tony Gonzalez starts going, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do. And he starts going back. I'm like, dude, why are you going back? Like, it's like swimming out halfway to a lake and
Yeah.
you swim back. Like, we're halfway through already. And then they warned me not to get in a fight with any of the mobsters. And I'm like,
'Cause they pop
Wellborn,
out.
you got popped for steroids 19 times. And Turley, you're in freaking anger management. And you guys are warning me. And sure as shit, I got in a fight with one of the ghouls because all the lights are out. And they're a lot of like, they touch
Terrifying.
you and stuff, right?
Don't get too
so,
close.
Like with me, so the lights are out and all of a sudden, bam, the lights are on, and there's ghouls in my face. So I throw my
Ghouls.
elbow up as a reaction to defend myself against The Walking Dead. And the guy just missed it. And then he started talking shit to me, and I started talking shit to him. And they had to like, hey, let's go. And so, of course, only me, I'm going to get in a fight with a ghoul.
For
over there.
reference, he
So they
is
were
talking
right.
about like when you're in 8th grade, your mom drops you off.
Yeah,
at
no,
this
I get
place,
it. When
you know?
I'm trying to
they're
do-
scary, dude, and they're touching you, and they're like,
Yeah, they
the
do
lights
tou-
are,
they're
yeah,
not
they
supposed
touch,
to.
right?
They touch
Yeah,
you.
and they're grabbing your ankles and stuff. You're going over drawbridges, and there's no lights on. It's the scariest shit I've done.
I
Yeah.
love
So-
that that's your memory of Kansas
Yes,
City.
that is my
You know
memory
we
of
got a
Kansas
lot
City.
more.
As I guess maybe I'm thinking about it from like the actor perspective. If I'm like working there, I'm playing one of the zombies. I see you and Tony Gonzalez and Turley. I'm like, all right, let's not get too close to these.
Yeah.
I wouldn't still.
Instead, they're trying to scare the big guys,
I would
right?
just be like,
Well,
you know what? Let's not
Okay,
get too
that's
close
funny.
here.
Didn't think we
if
were
a
gonna talk
ghoul
about that.
touches me, I'm gonna fuck a ghoul up.
Okay, let's talk more about some ghouls on both teams. Like I mentioned, I was just covering the Chiefs the other day, so I got to talk to some players and be right there on the sideline. I talked to Isaiah Pacheco after the game, and I kind of like, as we do talk about betting angles and props, I think he's going to have a great game. Both playoff games, he's had double-digit carries. Philly
They
cannot
need him
stop
to
the
have.
run.
They need him to have.
And they're limited at receiver. I think he's going to catch the ball out of the backfield. When you look at like a guy like that, a rookie, I mean,
Yeah.
what do you think some of these guys, you talk so much about the mental game,
Right.
a guy who here I am predicting having a great game numbers-wise. What do you think a rookie is going into this
Well,
game
there's
thinking?
two things. Either a rookie goes in and they're so wide-eyed and they're like, oh my God,
Right.
and they nerve up, or they don't know what they don't know, and it's just,
It's not the game.
it plays into them like that. Yeah, but it's usually the former.
And advantage-wise,
I don't
though,
think so, though. He is so confident, and he really, I don't think it's going to get to him. Plus, Andy has so much experience. Like, I'm sure they're going through practice. So these coaches have to change how you practice because they have to say, okay, we do this. Now almost have to practice like pregame warm-ups, guys. We're going to do this. We're going to go in now, and it's going to be an extra half hour instead of like normal. So you almost practice it. You have to practice how you're going to handle the cadence for halftime. He's been able to do that. And what happens also, like Andy will tell us guys, normally you get on the field and you get so jazzed up. Well, then all of a sudden there's so much pageantry. You have to wait for 35 minutes. Guys sometimes will gas out. He'll be able to make sure that doesn't happen because he's been in it so much. That's where experience comes into play.
You talked about too, like going to camps and stuff like that. One thing I've always loved, because knowing you all these years, I know when you would go leave on like your camp tour. And how long have you been doing that? I mean,
1993
is when you started to go. And how many camps?
That's 31 years now.
30.
30? You okay?
That's the year I was born, and I'm almost 30.
She's like, don't add too much onto that. How many is there? Like, do you know going in?
So
how many?
Honestly, the Chiefs used to be my favorite team.
Yeah.
They were in River Falls, Wisconsin, and that's why I learned about cheese curds and New Galera spotted cow, and I was like, and also like for me, I grew up in Jersey, New York, so like this was like any town USA. It was beautiful. I loved it, and I was like, I stayed in this bed and breakfast, and I'd stay at Chiefs camp longer than any other camps because I became friends with these people who ran a bed and breakfast. Oh, but let me tell you the worst training camp story of all time.
Please.
All right, let's do it.
So I go out to this other team, and I get put up in like I don't want to say the hotel, but the rooms were like $29.99, and that's the only thing they had because some of these camps are in the middle of nowhere. And all of a sudden, this dude was like, "Mr. Glazer, this we have for you. We have this." He had like a smoking like twin bedroom, like twin bed. What am I fucking?
You can smoke as much as you want here, sir.
Right? So I was like, no, I'm with Fox, and I have to do. He's like, no. He's like, that's all we have. It's. I'll tell you, it's the Ravens. He's like, it's Ravens. It's Ravens Family Week. So every hotel's booked. Is all that's it. It's all you have. So I'm like, man, I'm staying in this crappy little dumpy place. It's freaking disgusting. It's $29 a night, and they're like, that's all there. And the manager being a dick. So he finally takes me. I go down the room, and I look up around the room, and well, I don't have a problem with the French fries on the floor, or the spiders and the spider webs in the window, or the pieces of wallpaper ripped off the wall. But what the fuck is up with all the blood splattered all over this wall?
What?
Right? Yes. So I walk back down, and I tell the manager, you, come with me. He's like, Mr. Glazer. I said, hey, dude, we can do this the easy way or the hard way.
Yeah, don't frame me for a crime right now.
You're coming to this room with me. So I come down, bring him down. And by the way, I'm supposed to go in there. I'm supposed to be Rex Ryan and Mike Pettin for dinner, who are coaches for the Ravens at the time. So I said, you're coming with me. And I said, hey, man, I don't got a problem with the spiders over the French fries, but, dude, what the fuck is up with the blood all over the wall? And he literally says to me, oh, yeah, I got to call housekeeping about that.
Stop.
I said, housekeeping?
Like you forgot.
Jack Bauer. Yeah, call like Homeland Security. What are you calling?
Maybe the
housekeeping?
FBI?
Like, this happens all the time. Are you serious? He's like, oh, calm down. I said, what, are you going to slaughter me? I said, what's going on? He goes, Mr. Glazer, we'll get you another room. I said, you said there's no other rooms. He goes, well, not at this price point. I was like, well, I didn't care. Like, so no. So he's like,
give you the Norman Bates suite.
He's like, I'll get you the best hotel room in town. Well, the best hotel room in town is across the street at this inn that is a converted schoolhouse like the freaking Shining.
Oh my God.
So he puts me in there. So I call Rex Ryan and Mike Pettin. I say, hey, what you guys at the pub? They say, yeah, I need you to get the biggest steak knives you have over there. I need you to come over and meet me at this hotel because I'm sleeping with these knives in this hotel. And that was my
I would ask
training camp
do you
tour.
have a guest room?
And the Giants
Stay
one time.
somewhere with them.
Oh, what don't make me upset about the Giants. Where'd they put
this
you?
is when I was so broke, I didn't have enough money to stay. So I had to find a place to stay, and my cousin had a frat house up there at University of Albany.
This sounds like a friendlier story.
But he hasn't used it yet.
Oh, you'd be surprised.
And I walked in, and it was a converted crack house, which they hadn't cleaned yet. And I drove up on a motorcycle, so I had like somebody, Bob Tish's assistant, drove up like my clothes for me, right? And I couldn't get in any of the bedrooms, so like the TV's knocked over, the couch that I'm gonna have to sleep on is burnt out. So I take my clothes and I put it out to sleep on this, and in the middle of the night, this 6'7", I still don't know if it was a guy or a gal, but in a bathrobe, a shower cap, and jeans, comes climbing into the window to like shoot up, and I'm like, what? You got the wrong house. And I am crapping my pants. I throw an Arizona iced tea bottle at this thing. He runs, or she, whatever, runs out the window. And I call Strahan the next day because I had no sheets, no nothing. And Michael stole or borrowed sheets and pillows from the Giants to bring to me so I could use in this crack thing, and then more steak knives so I could defend myself.
Well, okay,
My cortisol raises when you come on the show. I'm stressed.
It's just like, I wrote a mental health book this year, but it's all this other stuff.
if you had to do three things, you have to pick one of these three things you have to do again. You'd have to go through the haunted house in Kansas City.
No.
You have to stay in the blood-splattered room in Baltimore,
Yeah.
or you have to stay at the crack den where the Giant. Which one you have to pick one? Which one will you go through again?
Haunted
If
house.
Strahan will steal the stuff from me again, and I could stay on it, like,
You'll go
and
frat house.
I'm weaponized, I'd go there.
An
Yeah.
Arizona iced tea bottle's not
Yeah,
weaponized.
I'm
Good
okay, right,
detail
right,
that
I'm
you
okay.
remember the bottle.
I remember
Those
everything.
bottles too are a little extra,
Right, yeah.
big, a little bigger.
But let me tell you something. We're tough, but when someone breaks in, the way your heart, like,
Of course.
you
Oh
are.
my
It is
God.
like I just froze. I was like, I wasn't the tough guy that I thought I was. I was like crapping my
What's
pants.
amazing is you didn't say this is the end of Jay Glazer's camp tours. You kept
No,
going.
it was night one. It was the first night of the entire. It was 40 days.
That could have been it. The whole career could have been different.
And this is back then. I was getting $450 a year from New York One TV, and the New York Post was paying me $250 an article. That was my whole yearly salary. So I had to be there, but they wouldn't pay for anything. So the only way I was getting paid is
Yeah.
I had to be there to break some news on the Giants and use other sources for Jets or whoever else to break news. So I had to be there, and I had to be there, and I didn't have enough money to pay for anything. So that went on for 11 years, as you know.
As you do know everyone and talk to everyone, especially after last night, getting all that face-to-face time, do you have a lean in this game?
No, because it's the boxer and brawler. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that, man, if they try and take away that run, let's say you try and take away the run for Philly, right? And you're going to go, okay, we're going to try and see if Jalen could step up in this game.
Mm-hmm.
But if you put those rookies on an island against those two receivers, man, and even Dallas Goedert, like, man, it's kind of pick your poison.
Yep.
But so I've been thinking it's on Jalen too. Like, Jalen needs to step up big in this game because I think they're going to put the pressure on him.
Yeah, I bought in a little bit. My Super Bowl picks were Eagles, Bengals, and after watching that Bengals-Bills game, I definitely. Do you think? I wondered about this because I've even asked athletes like Strahan, like the bulletin board stuff. Does that really motivate?
So
Like,
guys
these guys
like
need
Mahomes
stuff.
look for. Yeah, they need things like that.
Well, I
they
thought
they make stuff up there, like Jordan did.
Right.
They make stuff up in their minds. Yeah.
I thought the Bengals got a
What do you
little.
mean? What do you know about that? Sorry to cut you off.
I can't say. I can't
Make
say it here.
stuff up. Can you elaborate what you mean, though?
They'll find reasons they or someone on their team has been disrespected.
Okay.
Be like, all right, you think, all right, yeah, like, which normally doesn't even exist.
So Chiefs-Bengals week was amazing for the Chiefs.
That was easy for them.
Yeah.
That's
Very
what I'm saying. The
easy, yes.
Bengals did
That pissed
their
them
job.
off
Or at
beyond
least
belief,
the
yes.
mayor of
That
Cincinnati.
pissed them off beyond belief.
Burrowhead.
Yes. Like, why would you do that?
I know, so stupid.
Like, don't
So
poke the
stupid.
bear.
Between that and
It's
then
like when people used to talk shit about Brady. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Don't do that.
Between
and he does
that-
the same thing.
between that, like a bad
like, "All right,
roll.
motherfucker."
This
Yeah.
playoff has been tough for mayors. Not that Adams had anything to do with the Empire State Building being lit up green, but he made some comments about Kyrie Irving. I'm like, you need to go investigate who lit up the Empire State Building in green and white.
Jeez,
It's like
yeah.
the worst thing ever. But yeah, I thought that the Cincinnati mayor just why would
Yeah,
you?
like, why would you be the one that fires up the best player in the NFL? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Hey, Kelsey was right. Know your freaking place, and that ain't it.
Yeah.
And Kelsey's another one who like watching.
We trained
as a
him too.
fan.
Were you there for him?
Yeah, I
with
was
us?
there for Kelsey.
He was
yes.
training with us also.
He's,
Travis
and
Kelce.
he's a Cleveland
And
guy.
he was filming that reality show. Remember the dating
Yes.
Kelsey thing?
Yes.
Oh, you're killing him over it. It was
And I
great.
still don't understand
Yeah.
how, I love to bet like first touchdown of the game.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it can't be Kelsey. It's
And
never
he's
going to be
always
Kelsey.
open,
And he
right?
always gets
Yeah.
a touchdown.
Always open.
And he got the first touchdown in that AFC
He's like Cooper
Championship
Kupp.
game.
Like, how are they always open? It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And just they know how to separate at the right time and they know how to sell it to get somebody to go where they're not.
Yeah. Walk us through what Sunday will look like for you. Obviously, Fox is hosting and you're hosting
Yep.
the pregame show. Walk us through
We have a
that.
5-hour pregame show.
Jeez.
So
What do you talk about for 5 hours?
I don't know. Our production meeting's Thursday.
Haunted houses in Kansas City?
You'll find out Thursday.
Our production meeting's Thursday. Yeah. And then
Does
we but here's what's great about our show. We don't rehearse. Like
Wow.
when you see us on Sunday, that's the first time we're saying, like, we don't rehearse. Like
Yeah.
we say we'll do a 2-hour show at a military base We have no rehearsals, nothing. We just know each other so well. And our producer, Bill Richards, gives us really the room for us to be us. And then he'll rap us when we need a rap. And when Bradshaw and I are kind of go off the deep end, and he'll make sure we don't get in trouble. But, for the most part, there's no other TV show that can do this. And here's the other thing. This is my family. We love each other. We hang out constantly.
Yeah.
Off season, in season, hang out constantly. No other show hangs out like the amount we do. Holidays together, best man at each other's weddings, godfather of each other's children. Man, I adopted my son Sammy, and I leaned into Howie Long and how to be a dad, and really learned. I talk now about mental health. Terry Bradshaw is the first who really talked about it. I lean on him now. He leans on me. When we're struggling, we tell each other. What other show does something like he came to me the other day. He's like, man, I'm having a bad day between the ears. I don't need you to say anything. I just need somebody who understands. That's how close we are. And then 2 weeks ago, I had a really bad, dark gray attack about a half hour before our show where I felt like crying. And my depression just got so bad to me where I felt like the sky was falling and my world was ending. And I told Kurt and Stray, and Kurt's like, you want me to take you in the room right now and talk? Do you want to I'm here. What do you want? What do you need from me? And he's trying to get ready for the show.
Right, clock's ticking.
What do you need from me? And that's our family. That's what we do for each other. And that's what, I tell everybody out there with the mental health work that I'm doing now, you need to find your team. And teams could be, God or your kids or your wife or your husband, but they deserve to know what's going on with you so they could be good teammates to you also, because they want to be good teammates for you.
Yeah, it shows as far as a pregame show and stuff like that, your guys' friendship just is what I feel like that's what everyone tunes in. Of course we want the scoop from you, we want the insight from everyone, but
it's the camaraderie. You're inviting us. We're a rolling party. You're inviting us into your house every weekend for years and years and years. Right?
How many years now has it been? Do you know?
This is my 20th, I think. And then, so Howie and Terry and Jimmy, 30. Me and Kurt's 20. Stray's 15. So, it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. But that's family. That's And we love each other so much. We're all together right before. We've been together today. We were together last night. And then now it's just us, our executives. We hang out with our executives. Constantly hang out.
Yeah.
Our producers and our CEO and our president and our executive producers and our executive vice president, we literally all hang out. It's incredible.
For those who don't follow your podcast, Unbreakable, it's a fantastic podcast, and you have so many great people on it in sports and outside of sports. So it's not just a sports podcast.
We got Guy Fieri on this week, who's
fantastic.
My dude. Yep.
Yeah.
Who no one really knows his story, how he got to where he got to. He doesn't tell it, and he opens up, and I've been one of his best friends for a long time. I didn't realize. I didn't know the whole thing from how it started.
But that'll be a good listen.
To where he is. Yeah, I had no idea.
Man.
Yeah, it's great.
Jay, can't thank you enough. I know this is definitely not a light week for you. We're going to be watching you for 5 hours on Fox pregame with everybody else.
Big week. Congrats.
Thank you.
Every year. I hope this never wears off.
You know what? Never does. I always act. So every single Super Bowl I'm at, I go take a little step on the side. And I always tell every head coach to do the same thing in their first head coaching job.
Yeah.
I'll find a little somewhere by myself, and I would literally look up to God and say, thank you, my best friend God. I can't believe I'm in here. I'm here, and I'm never going to act like, hey, I've been there before. Man, this is unbelievable. I'm still waiting to wake up in 5th grade. None of this happened. So I always want to feel that way. So I live in gratitude with that. And I try and get every head coach to do the same thing in their first ever game.
Love that.
Love that, Jay, and love you. You're the best. Thank you. And
enjoy
enjoy Monday when it settles down.
And anybody, again, we talked mental health a little bit. Still got my book out there, Unbreakable.
Yes.
How I turn my depression, anxiety into motivation. You can too. And there's a lot of football stories in there that'll make you laugh your ass off.
And I got
Even
the
though
podcast.
It's a mental health book. It's great.
Fired up for my flight home.
Podcast, absolutely. Unbreakable, a mental health podcast. But we talk a lot of shit on there, so it's good.
Jay Glazer, everyone. Thanks, Jay.
Thanks, Jay.
Thanks, guys.
We appreciate you.
You know what I'm saying? In front of everybody. Oh. Game starts at 20. Bet slip is empty. I got to call KG.
KG, what up?
I got nothing for you, Fox.
Come on. What you got, huh?
And it's spa day, Jamie. You don't interrupt spa day.
Okay. Gracie, what's up? I need some tips.
Jamie, you want a tip?
Yeah. No. Come on, somebody. Jalen, what's up, man? You want a tip? Yeah.
You really want to tip?
I really need some tips.
Don't call somebody on live TV, Jamie
Well,
Like
you
I was
answered.
saying, they wasn't
Have other friends anyway.
Marshawn, Barry, holla at
Jamie
Fox.
Hey, what's up with it, Fox? Listen, I need some tips.
I like L.A.
L.A.?
No, Dallas. That's
Dallas.
Dallas not
Dallas?
too bad. We gotta get to Miami. How about Detroit? Nah, Harry over there betting with his
I'll
heart.
call y'all right back. Vanessa, I need your help.
I got a tip for you. Always go with your gut.
I like that. Going with my gut. Let's go with our gut.
All right, we're back. That was a lot of fun with Jay. He's one of one.
Do you see why I say, like, when I talk about, like, my LA big brother, it was absolutely Jay for all the reasons. But yeah, I mean, the fact that he's so humble and grateful too, I think that is exactly why people take to him so well. But yeah, he's definitely gonna take some time off, and he's gonna hit like 40 camps. There's not even 40 teams. He's gonna hit 40 camps in the summer. So
He's going to the CFL. And arena football.
I told you before we started, though, we're not going to get anything. He's not going to lean one way. He keeps it pro. Like, you got to watch on Sunday. If he has an inkling or a scoop or something, it's going to come out Sunday morning.
Did you notice the one thing he dangled right in front of us, which I'm thinking is going to be his scoop on Sunday, is Patrick Mahomes has to make up bulletin board material. He clammed up right when he started to give us something good, and I think he's going to really share an interesting story on Sunday. That's my guess.
Well, I think if the Eagles are smart, by the way. I think the Eagles are good at trash talking and knowing when and knowing how. And I don't think. I mean, if it's going to be something, it's probably something really small that gets turned into something way bigger. So this way, there's some bulletin board there. But don't give them any.
I mean, they already do. They're an underdog. Patrick Mahomes, as an underdog, is 8-1 versus spread, 6-3 straight up. And we've already kind of talked off camera. We talked last week on Unleashed with Brad Evans, but we were both leaning Chiefs last week. Where are you at now?
I think I'm back on Philly. I just still, because I look at the offensive and by the way, I don't think I was leaning Kansas City last week.
You were.
I don't think I was.
Roll the tape. Someone go back.
We got
to
figure
last
out
week.
that tape.
Yeah.
But I still just look at the lines. I look at the Eagles' offensive and defensive line, and I just think it's going to be too much to overcome. But I do think it's going to be a great game. But would I be shocked if Mahomes lights it up and wins a close one? No. I think we're at the point now where, and this is why this all feels so long this whole week.
Yeah.
We need them to play.
I know.
Hassan Reddick, my guy, who we're going to talk about with Peter Andreu later when we start talking about some of our Super Bowl props and stuff like that. He tweeted what everyone was thinking this morning. He was like, "It's only Tuesday, ... Like, that would scare me a little bit to know somewhere Reddick is just in a hotel room just seething to get at this game."
So we talked a little bit with Jay, too, about experience and that when the lights are on and you have 2 weeks to hear nothing but good and bad things about your team, younger players can tend to either clam up, get overwhelmed. You might kind of forget something that otherwise would have come naturally. And I think that's the Chiefs' biggest edge. And I am leaning Chiefs. And I like 1.5. I really like a money line at plus money. I still think that's kind of the best bet. I think that's the play. But we were just talking before we started, the Chiefs have 30 players who have played in a Super Bowl before. The Eagles have 10. I feel like that could be a big difference, not to mention the coaching staff.
I think when it comes to the experience, all of it, Andy Reid, 30 players, we're going to see. We're going to learn a lot about all the kind of tropes that we always talk about, experience versus rookies and bulletin. All that stuff is going to get answered on Sunday. And hopefully we're all on the right side of it, betting-wise, so we can also make some money while we learn some stuff about it. But it's been a really, really great season.
I mean, it's very exciting. Okay, a little trivia because I was trying to stump Jerry with this earlier.
Okay.
Who is an Eagles player? And we'll see on Twitter if people can tweet live to us.
Yeah, let's see if you know this answer.
If you know, who is the Eagles player playing in their third Super Bowl? And he's 1-1.
Right. Well, I will stress, yes, as I was about to say.
Let's see if anyone tweets
he's
at
not
us.
2-0 in the Super Bowl going into his third. It's 1-1 because I was thrown because I was trying to think who's about to win their third Super Bowl.
And 3 teams.
Are we going to answer it? Anyone? Anyone answering?
Isaac, shout if someone tweets at us. So that's one I want to dangle in front of everyone. If anyone tweets back at us an answer, let's see if anyone gets it. The other one was there's a Chief player playing in his 4th Super Bowl. Do you know who that is?
It has to be someone on the offensive line, which forgive me, I don't.
You don't know the Chiefs starting 5 offensive line?
I think I know 4 of the 5. Who is it? Can you give that one to the audience now?
No, I'm going to dangle that one too.
Right.
I want y'all to interact with us. I want you to tweet at us. Go ahead and tweet at me directly so I can see, and at BetMGM. Y'all holler if we get someone. So those are 2 little good trivia facts. But in general, Chiefs experience. Mahomes and Kelsey, it's their 3rd together alone. Andy Reid's fourth. Eric Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator, it's his third. I mean, this Chiefs team knows how to handle this week. They know how to handle the 2 weeks here. I mean, how can you not like the Chiefs in this spot?
Here's what I keep coming back to. It's been the Eagles all year. Meaning they had decent hype out of the preseason, and then they were a juggernaut through the first, what did they go, 9-0, 10-0, whatever, before they lost. Then they had that little slide with the injuries, and then they rolled. Yes, it has been a charmed playoff run, meaning, you get to play the Giants and the Niners without a quarterback. I get all that, but I just think it's just their year. I think things have broke their way, and I think that they've been the team all year. This might be, the question for me is, can they go wire to wire? And yes, if you take out Mahomes, that'll answer any doubts about the team. And they're just stacked.
I got you.
Even when they were drafting last year and they got A.J. Brown and they're just loaded. And I don't think the Chiefs are loaded.
Okay, let me tell you what I'm now thinking as we're getting closer to the Super Bowl, and all you hear is talk, and we're doing the same thing. We're talking. But I feel like if the Chiefs can lean on their run game, we know how good that Eagles defensive front is. They're going to give Mahomes no time.
No.
Kelsey's his comfort blanket. That's his first check.
And he should be absolutely quadruple teamed,
Yes.
if possible, 100%.
I mentioned with Jay, I like Isaiah Pacheco, the rookie running back. Jerick McKinnon is back as well. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is activated. He's back.
Whoa, really?
Yes.
That's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
He hasn't played since November.
I wonder what his odds are for first touchdown. Probably a bajillion to 1.
Yeah. Oh, you like it?
No, I don't like it at all.
So
least favorite bet.
Pacheco has had double-digit carries in both playoff games. He's hot. He's confident. He catches the ball out of the backfield. I like Pacheco's stats, and we're going to talk more props with Peter Andreu. But I feel like this is the Chiefs' advantage if they can do it. And I mentioned Eagles' run defense is horrible. They're 24th in the NFL in yards per carry allowed. So if the Chiefs can just dial this one up, I love Andy Reid scouting, and if I can find this advantage.
Listen, I hear you. I'm not discounting what the Chiefs could do and would not be shocked. But again, I just come back to, I just look at the weapons on both sides of the ball. And I think after Mahomes and all right, if you want to just go by skill position, you have Kelsey. And I think the next bunch of players after that, I think you name 5 Eagles before you get to the next Chief.
Yeah.
If you're going skill position outside of the quarterbacks, you go Kelsey, then I think you're really in Miles Sanders, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Then I think you could come to Pacheco, and then I think you dip back to the Eagles for Goddard. I think you're naming 4 Eagles after Kelsey. So to me, yes, can Mahomes, Pacheco, and Kelsey put up enough points?
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Which injury to the quarterback bothers you more? Scares you more, I guess.
I think the Mahomes one. Well, it's weird because he's overcome, and we just heard Jay just talk about how he's the greatest healer of all time. Superhuman X-Man level mutant healing ability. So I guess I can't say Mahomes, but I look at the placement of the injury. I mean, I think Hurts is good to go. I don't think the injury. I mean, the adrenaline that's going to be going through and whatever else. I don't think the injuries are going to factor. I think when Mahomes played the Bucs with that injury, I think that injury was a bigger factor than this one.
And he said so too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let me tell you a play I like. I like the under. It opened at 49.5. Now it's 50.5. I like the under in the Super Bowl. First of all 7 playoff games, the under hit. So, hello. And
all
then,
7? Is that
all 7?
Whoa.
The under hit. And then I like the under in the Super Bowl because the Super Bowl attracts more casual bettors. So they're driving up the number because a lot of people don't have skin in the game, unless you're a fan of the 2 teams left standing. You kind of don't care. You just want to watch all the opening, the anthem, the halftime, all that. You're just excited to watch the game. You want to see scoring. You want to see touchdowns. You want to see all these stars we've just mentioned. So everyone's hammering the over. I think as the week goes on, you wait and see what the number's at. But I think it's going to be the under, so I like that, under 50.5.
I like that call, and I also think that favors your narrative being a Chiefs fan and wanting the Chiefs to win the game, because I think I don't know if the Chiefs can win a shootout with the Eagles. So I think in order for the Chiefs to win, which is kind of what you're hoping for, I do think it needs to be a little bit muddier of a game, a little bit lower scoring. I don't know if turns into a shootout, although I love Mahomes in the shootout.
Yeah.
Again, I just go back to the offensive weapons that I think tilts, but I just think the Eagles defense, to your point with the under, is going to have a lot to say about the scoring in this game too. That defense, I've watched them 3 times up close and then obviously tracked them the whole year. And they have had the most terrifying defense in the league. And that's no disrespect to the Niners or the Cowboys or anyone else. I've been the most terrified, even as a Giants fan, of the Eagles' defense this year.
As I mentioned, everyone placing bets on this game. I've got to give a shout out for something I just read a couple hours before we started. Over 50 million adults are going to be betting on the big game. $16 billion. And by the way, the percentage of people betting is up 61% from last year. Obviously, 4 more states have legalized, so that is a lot more people. But the same amount of people who are runners in the United States are betting on the Super Bowl.
I just hope, and I've been
really
a little,
weird stat,
I've been a little disrespectful this year of kickers. I think we all have. I've begged for the extra point to get moved back up.
Yeah.
Why we have to watch for? I just hope, I pray for both the kicker's sake, not for mine as a fan, for the kicker's sake, that we are not going to be in a situation where Harrison-Butker come on the field for a 42-yard field goal to send it into. I just don't want to see.
But don't you feel like we are?
I do, and that's what I guess I'm afraid of, and I just don't want to see it. It's been a rough year with kickers, and I'm so down on kicking as a part of football at this point, and maybe because so many of my bets have been destroyed by an extra point, or people going 0 for 4 for extra points. So I just really hope it just doesn't come down to that, and that's why I think one prop I do like, and we'll talk more about it with Peter when he comes on. The Harrison-Butker made kicks 1.5. I just like under. 2 reasons. I don't trust the kicking game. Made field goals. I don't trust kickers in general, but also I think, again, for the Chiefs to win, if they get close, they're going to have to go for it on 4. I think they're going to have to get touchdowns. I don't think they could settle, unless it's that kind of game. I mean, I don't think they could settle for field goal. I think if it's 4th and 4, I want put the ball in Mahomes' hand and not on the leg of someone else.
So then you still like over.
I like under. I know. I like the under. I think I think he'll make 1. And then, obviously.
What's his extra points?
I don't even want to. I can't. My brain cannot even handle extra points. I don't even want to think about them anymore.
I've got to just bring up one more stat because I've got my little list here, and I'm trying to convince you on the Chiefs, and that's what my job here is.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's what my job here is.
Let's hear it.
The other one, Brad Evans told us on last week's episode of Unleashed, and it's strength of schedule. The Chiefs had the number 16 ranked strength of schedule. The Eagles 31. And
this is a noisy huevo special.
Stat.
Brad Evans, you're about to get.
I love a weird stat. This one's not too obscure,
a good one.
I think this one's legit.
This is a good one.
And when the 2 teams meeting in the Super Bowl have a difference of 10 spots in strength of schedule, which is this time, since 2004, the team with the harder strength of schedule goes 10-2.
10-2.
Did I describe that right?
Let me just recap that because. Yes, if there is 10 spot difference between strength of schedule, that team with the hardest schedule 10-2. I think that's a worthy stat, and that does say something. And
I think it's huge.
And it goes off too. I mean, it definitely didn't seem to change when you look at the playoff run, and what the Eagles had to do to get into the Super Bowl compared to what the Chiefs had to do and overcome. So. It's a great case. I'm not going to waver from what I thought a few weeks ago. I'm still on the Eagles. But it's a great case. And, I'm starting to just get, at this point, I'm more interested in the props now. Yes, I'm interested in the game. Go, Eagles, sure. Good, congrats, Philly, Casey, whatever. Ready for some prop bets. I really want to hit that first touchdown. That's just such a great way to start a wild parlay if you can get that first touchdown score of the game.
Yeah.
But you're really just, throwing a bunch of cards in the air and hoping at that point. But
okay, want to hear another weird one I got?
Oh, God. And this is in order to sway me to the Chiefs?
Sure. Teams that don't wear white are 20-36. You know what the Chiefs are wearing?
Wait, can you say that? Hold on. I feel like you just did something political.
I think I just got confused.
I think you just did something political where you took
the Chiefs are wearing white.
Right.
So the team that wears white does better.
Right, can't you say so? I'm saying the team that doesn't wear white is 20-36. I'm not that smart, Olivia.
And I'm apparently not either because I tripped myself up.
I'm not smart enough.
One more thing because then we're going to get to the real stuff with Peter Andreu later. But heads or tails, you would think 50-50 odds, right? Not so fast, my friend. That is not true. Tails hits 52% of the time.
Wouldn't you think, too, here's a hot take. I'm not going to bet this, but people love to bet on the Gatorade color and all that stuff. Now, I believe when the Chiefs won the Super Bowl a few years ago, it was the yellow kind of Gatorade.
Which is the best and should be the only one drink.
But now me being crazy super, I would 100% bet that if I cared about that bet. I don't, but if I were, I would bet whatever it was when the Chiefs won a few years ago, because if you are superstitious,
and they'd stick with it.
You'd stick with what worked.
Well, are you saying now that you think the Chiefs will win?
I'm not. What I want to know is, more importantly, the year they lost, what was that color? Because that's not going to be the color they're going with this year.
Oh, good point.
Thank you.
But no one knows the Gatorade color of the team who lost.
Jay Glazer probably knows.
He probably does.
And he wouldn't tell us, so.
Let's finish up with saying the trivia that we dangled in front of you.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, you give the Eagles answer.
Well, the Eagles answer, which I found, and his name came up because I was unsure. I mean, I knew he was still in the league, but and he's a great player, and Ndamukong Suh.
Yeah.
And he's playing in his 3rd Super Bowl.
Yep.
But then we had the whole run of, wait a minute, so did he go Rams win, Bucks win, and now he's is he going for his 3rd? No, he wasn't on the Rams team.
It was a Rams
that won.
loss.
He was on the Rams loss with Goff.
Jared Goff Super Bowl.
Lost that one, won with Brady and the Bucks, and now he's back for his 3rd in 4 years, which is incredible.
Absolutely incredible. Okay, so that was a good one, I thought. Good little trivia.
That's a great one.
And
who's the lineman?
It was a lineman.
Yeah, of course it was.
It was a lineman. Joe Tooney for the Chiefs, playing in his 4th Super Bowl. That's
4th.
incredible.
So 3 with the Chiefs. I wonder who that other one was with.
No, this is the 4th.
The Chiefs have made the Super Bowl 4 times?
No.
We'll figure that out.
Do we know?
Well, listen, let's get to Peter while we find that out for everyone watching.
All right.
And I'm dying to get to some props. I got to know because Pete peaked at the right time. So everyone watching on the live, stay tuned. Peter Andrew's coming up, and we're going to get to some props because it's time.
3, 2, 1.
Major shout out because people did answer our trivia question correctly. And that was Young Easy, Chase Brundage, and Dawson. So thank you guys. And in the break, we've had an amazing idea.
You had an amazing idea.
I'm producing live.
You had an amazing idea.
We are going to give out a bonus bet. I'm going to do one more trivia question, and we're going to be giving out a bonus bet if you tweet at us your answer and if you get it. So you guys can't say the answer, but you can think about it. And then at the end of this segment, we will announce what the answer is and hand out bonus bets. So trigger fingers turn to Twitter fingers. Let me know your answer.
Let me get in.
So the question is, when was the last time a player won regular season MVP and went on to win the Super Bowl? And I'll give you a hint, it's longer ago than you'd think.
Eli Manning. No, I'm kidding.
No.
So tweeted us your answer. All right, now we welcome in Peter Andreu, our BetMGM betting expert / analyst. It depends how he did that week. But since there was no game last week, you're an expert.
So Pete, this is the Mecca. We know what we're talking about. We know why you're here. Prop bets to me, especially with the Super Bowl, it's an art form, and it's usually a very hard art form to pull up. So, first of all, how are you feeling going into this Sunday with the props? Are you feeling like it's clear? I know there's a big prop thing that BetMGM's doing, so your brain must be overloaded with props, right?
Props is the theme for the next couple of days. So the $100,000 big game prop bet challenge, you guys are part of it. I know you gave some picks as well.
Yes,
we did.
Two winners, by the way.
2 winners. So everybody will hear those in the next couple of days. Every customer on BetMGM can participate. It's completely free to play. It's amazing. All you have to do is pick the 15 different props. You'll see them when you go onto betmgm.com. And the person who either guesses the most correctly or the perfect amount, $100,000 in your pocket. So
tiny little amount of $100,000.
Just $100K, no big deal. All you need to do is be registered and a verified customer. Very easy. And if you guess correctly, the most or the perfect amount, $100,000.
Well, I'm going to tease. I'm going to give out one of my picks now really quick because I already said it on the show.
Yep.
And then you'll get the other one in the video. But I went under Harrison Butker 1.5 field goals because I just don't want there to be more field goals. And I just feel like the Chiefs will have to actually go for it on 4th down when they have a chance to score. So I don't want a four field goal Harrison
under
Butker
also
game.
is plus money, plus 100. Do you want to know what extra points was since you asked?
Oh, God, you're going to kill me.
2.5. Chiefs are scoring.
Right. Is he making all of the extra points?
He's making
just because he gets to attempt one doesn't mean he's going to make.
Dallas. It's Kansas City.
Especially kind of the theme of my picks, too, is if Philly goes up early and fast, they're not going to be kicking field goals. It just can't happen because Philly can stomp on your throat. And next thing you know, it's 21-3, 21-7, and game gets out of hand. So I'm with you. I think the under is the.
Well, that was and I'll get my other one in the video, but that was one of my picks in the prop. All right, so where do we begin?
I want to begin. I've been hounding the Chiefs this whole time and trying to convince Jerry. Last week when we had Brad Evans on, he said Chiefs money line plus money. And he said, but get it now because it'll change. It's still plus money. What do you make of that? Yeah,
so we took I think we're waiting on, and Jason, who we were playing golf with today, was talking about this. I think we're waiting on one report of Patrick Mahomes' ankle. And once that does happen, obviously the money will start funneling in. We took a huge bet on the Eagles this week, $1 million to win close to $750,000, $800,000. So that line is leaning. I mean, it's favoring Eagles right now, but I still think as you get into Thursday, as you get into Friday and Saturday, you're going to start to see that money transition. You just need that one glimmer of hope that Mahomes is 85%, because last week he was not 85%.
Don't you think last night was it? That's why I thought the number would change today.
Yeah.
Because all the reports coming out of the opening night were he's superhuman. Jay Glazer himself, he's amazing. He's healed.
Yeah. Jay Glazer said he's the greatest healer of all time. Like, no one heals faster. He said it on this show a lot.
And that didn't
we'll see in a couple days.
That didn't move the number.
Yeah, I think you'll start to see the late money coming in. So I'd say by Friday, by Saturday, you're going to start to see that transition.
Do you know what I was sort of feeling good about this player and was going to figure out a way to work him into a bet, and then John Ewing comes in with the over-the-top.
As usual.
Jumps off the top rope on Twitter. And again, if you don't follow John Ewing, at John Ewing, and he tweeted not long ago, a bettor at BetMGM wagered $2,500 on Kenneth Gainwell at plus 12,500 to win Super Bowl MVP. So $2,500 pays out $312,000. I'm worried it's a game too late because he kind of had the awesome game already, but that's a sneaky good pick.
Yeah, sneaky good pick. And this is going into my first pick. Okay. His over-under is 19.5 rushing yards. That is a low number.
Yeah.
And the way they use their spellbacks, especially if they get that early lead and they really want to control the tempo of the game, you got to imagine that him and Boston Scott are going to be getting significant play, 5 to 7 rushes each at least. All he has to do is break one 10, 12-yard run, and next thing you know, 19.5 is a pretty easy number to hit. To your point, he did it against the Giants, right? A couple weeks ago, he had 100+. Again, game was a little bit out of reach, but they are going to want to control the game with the run. That's going to open up a lot of things from the passing game. 19.5 seems like a low number. I mean,
well, if you love that too, you got to put him as an anytime scorer. He's not going to win MVP without being an anytime scorer, so you have to throw in a little bit of that too.
Sure. But I think he has a good game. I think all three of them have the potential to be really, really dominant against that team. I know Chris Jones and I know their D-line, but they control the game when they run the ball well. They are going to try to do that. It's going to open up some sort of RPO or play action. So I think that's the way they control the game, and that's why I'm leaning Eagles right now. Sorry, Liv, but
and that's sort of your first prop. So you like Gainwell over 19.5 yards, like minus 115.
Minus 115 right now. Yep. Sticking kind of with the running backs, Pacheco, rushing and receiving total 69.5. I think in order to have a good game and in order for them to keep up, I think he and Kelsey are probably the two guys that need to have a solid game. I think there's going to be a lot of checkdowns, and we'll get into Kelsey in a second, but I think there's going to be a lot of those checkdown type of plays. There's going to be a lot of pressure from a really good Philadelphia Eagles defense.
If he has time.
Exactly, and I think he's just going to have to be the guy available. So 69.5, looking at 40 rushing yards, 20-ish, 20-something receiving yards. I think that's a pretty attainable number. Pacheco, I think the last 11 games, all yards from scrimmage, 802 yards on the Chiefs. The only person higher, Travis Kelce, 883. So he's been the guy that's been helping dominate that offense. So, I mean, it's going to continue this week. I think he's going to be the focal point.
Yeah, and, you mentioned Kelce. I've been fading him on the anytime touchdown thing, which was one of my favorite bets all year. It's almost, you could almost book it for every game, and you'll come out on top. And not only did I fade it last week, but my sister-in-law, I talked about on the show, she actually bet him for first touchdown of the game score. I'm like, there's just no way. She hit both of those last week. But, I mean, is there any way, if you're the Eagles, that you could let Travis Kelce, unless you have a big lead, how could you let Travis? I know he's that great, best ever in that regard. But how are you not putting 3 guys on him and saying anyone else, Valdez, anyone else beat me?
So it's like we did these picks together because that's where kind of Kelsey comes in for my plays.
You have him on a touchdown?
I have him. So
Anytime
6.5 receptions.
Oh, yeah,
so
okay.
6.5 receptions over on that. I think there's going to be a lot of help over the top coming.
Okay.
They are going to make him, again, the dinky sort of plays. He's going to get those 5 to 6 yard plays, maybe break out a couple for first downs.
Yeah.
But they are going to have the support over the top. They're going to make him beat him with all the checkdowns. Against strong defenses this year, I think Jacksonville, Buffalo, Niners, a few other teams, he has 14 targets, 12 targets a game. He's going to get the looks. 6.5 is minus 155, so a little bit juicy. If you wanted to take 10 plus, which he's done twice this year, actually 3 times including the playoffs, I think plus 325. I think he's going to get a lot of those short looks. Again, going back to the Eagles' pass rush and what they can do to get to the quarterback. It's going to be really hard for him to break out those 20, 30-yard plays that we're kind of used to him seeing. And then from an anytime touchdown, I mean, if they get to the red zone, obviously he is the target. The over-the-top help doesn't matter anymore. It's almost
it really just doesn't matter. You just still have to have a position in that bet.
And it's, I think the price right now, if I'm not mistaken, is somewhere around minus 125. You're not laying a lot there for an anytime touchdown for maybe the best tight end ever, or top 3. So I think you got to do it. Maybe
top 3.
Maybe you take that with the receptions, or maybe you take that with an alt yards and get it to plus money. But I mean, it's Travis Kelce. I think he's going to get the touches. Is he going to get the significant balls? Is he going to get those 20, 30-yard plays? That's probably the big question.
Do you have any guesses on how's your question doing?
Really good. In fact, BetMGM's probably going to get mad at me because we're going to be giving out a lot of bonus bets.
Well, I think we have to stop it now because people have probably looked at the internet. So
I'll tell you as I'm.
All right, let's hear it. So this is the last regular season MVP to win a Super Bowl.
Win a Super Bowl, and as Jerry and I looked into it, it turns out it's a pretty cursed award. When you win regular season MVP and play in the Super Bowl, a lot of times you don't win. Last time it happened, 1999, Kurt Warner. We kept thinking it's got to be Brady. No.
Right. No, Kurt
Never
Warner.
won a Super Bowl and MVP in the same season.
Wow.
So Elliott Duncan, Frank Lucas, Smash Villian, Josh Jones, Not a Good Shoe, Yikes 13.
Yikes 13 is right because there's 1,300 people who got the
65. Toe tag also got it right. So thank you everyone for playing. Good job.
My
and
boss
you're
is
gonna
not
get your
gonna be
bonus
happy
bets.
today.
I know. I'm sorry.
This is on Dekker. I had nothing to do with this.
Yep.
This is like me at the bar after a couple. I'm like, no, one more round. He's got it.
You bought rounds for everybody at the bar.
This is a good way to get people into the big game spirit.
Yes.
So we're happy to give the bonus.
All
bets.
right, you have a couple more player props?
Couple more. So we got 2 more here.
Yeah.
Next one goes back to Eagles a little bit.
Okay.
Devontae Smith, 23.5 yards is the over-under for the longest reception that he'll have in the game. 7 out of the last 8 games, he's had 23 plus. That is a number that, to me, again, established the run. They start loading the box a little bit. Devontae Smith breaks out for 1. It doesn't have to be a 40-yard play. It could be a 10-yard screen play, and next thing you know, he's there for 30, 40 yards.
Okay.
That, to me, minus 115. Again, a lot of these props are right
I
on.
love that. I love that. I love that, and here's why. Having watched the Eagles now 3 times against the Giants, and obviously I watched the game last week. Both games, first game when they blew the Giants out, started with a big pass to Devontae Smith. And then again against the Giants in the playoffs, same thing. And then obviously that no catch thing against your San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah.
So it does seem like part of the winning formula is he's just going to get the looks. It's the same thing I like with when betting props in basketball. Who's going to get the most opportunity to at least give me a chance to win this prop? And I think that's a great prop because I think whenever it's going to go downfield, I think he's the target. I think A.J. Brown is intermediate over the middle.
Yep.
And I love that.
He's the deep threat. And
I like where your head's at, Pete.
I will say, caveat, 7 out of 8, 23 plus longest, last 7, 8 games.
Yep.
One of those is the catch against the Niners. So maybe it's 6
not
out
a
of 8.
caveat. It counts. It's in the books. It's in the books. It's not a caveat.
Still bitter.
All right. I like where you're at so far. Okay.
So last one, we're going to go big game MVP.
Okay.
Last week, I think we talked a little bit about if you're going to take the Eagles, maybe you take Jalen Hurts as MVP. If the Eagles win, there's no doubt he's going to get the Super Bowl MVP.
Yes. Well,
I've actually started to move away from that now. So Hassan Reddick, 30-1.
Oh, you're copying him now. You
not
can't do
copying.
that.
No, there's no copying when it comes to props.
Great minds think alike.
But I love that someone else is backing me up because I got no one on board with this.
he's been a monster. He's probably second or third in Defensive Player of the Year. If he does 2 sacks, 3 sacks, and gets one of those forced fumbles for a touchdown, defensive touchdown, one of your props in the prop bet challenge.
Or special teams
We're all
touchdown.
It'd be a
segueing
big day
everything.
for you if you bet that and Reddick to
I
win
know.
MVP.
You have to consider it. Again, long shot, 30-1. Likelihood of it happening, no, but it's
A good long shot.
It's a Jerry Ferrara lottery ticket. It's a Seattle Seahawks.
And
to win the
everyone
division
knows my
kind of bet.
lottery. Look, even if it doesn't hit, it may at least give you excitement through 2.5, 3
Exactly.
quarters. I've been on this for 2 weeks. I love this.
I obviously got to see him 2 weeks ago against
you were
the
there.
Niners.
You were there in person.
I
no?
wasn't there in person. I
Oh.
was fortunately not in
You
Philadelphia.
were there for the win.
I was there for the win against
Yeah.
Dallas, but he's dominant. I mean, especially when you put him against the right tackle. I mean, he was just absolutely dominant against McGlinchey. He's done that all year, 16 sacks. Why not put $10-20 on a 30-1 shot? It's a
You know what made me
$300-600
think of it
payout.
too is I really tried thinking about who was the last defensive player to win Super Bowl MVP and what did that look like, and it was Von Miller.
Wow.
And I'm not saying that they're similar players, but they're both amazing off the edge rushers who are super
Yeah.
fast and can impact the game. But the other thing is, yes, if the Eagles win, Hurts obviously is the favorite, and he should be.
Yep.
Haven't really seen it with the receiver in a while. I just think that there's a version, my favorite word, there's a version where if the Eagles win, that offense is so loaded it's really spread out equally. Like Miles Sanders could have a touchdown, maybe Gainwell, maybe Jalen has a rushing one, who knows. I think the offense could be spread out evenly enough that there's no clear-cut MVP on the offensive side.
Yeah, for sure.
And then if Reddick has one of those, 2 sacks, forced fumble, and if he gets a defensive touchdown, forget it. If there's a scoop and a score.
Yeah.
And if that happens early, we're in business, 30-1.
Even late, like say the game's tied going into the fourth quarter and he has a huge forced fumble, returns it for a touchdown, that ends up being the game winner. I mean, that right there is the kind of thing that gets you Super Bowl MVP.
And I know Mahomes is Wolverine and he's the fastest healer ever, and I will never negate
Say
that.
that sarcastically.
No, I'm saying I get it. What I'm saying is I get that. That being said, even if he's 10%, 5% slower than he normally is, that's only more of an advantage for a edge rusher like Reddick.
I got you.
Even if he's only 5%, if he's 92% of his normal speed, that's 8% more in our favor.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah, making up percentages
That's
right
right.
now.
You lost me again. Again, we're not that smart, Jerry.
Not that
Keep
smart.
it simple. One thing I was liking, is that it for your list of player props? One more?
One more that I didn't
Okay.
put on our list
Ooh.
that I
You
shared with our
haven't said a
producer,
Hurts
Matt.
one yet. Either quarterback you haven't.
Sticking away from the quarterbacks.
okay.
I think Mahomes' yards pretty high. I thought
Really? It's like
Hurts
290?
294.
Yeah, no.
If he's banged up, I don't know. I wanted to stay away from both the quarterbacks.
Okay.
One is more of kind of a live bet play.
Okay.
So I think the last 8 years, whoever has won the coin toss has lost the game. So if
Last
you're gonna,
8 years.
I read something in the last couple of days that said that. So Niners won the coin toss against the Chiefs, lost the game, and that happened.
And does it matter if they kick or receive? It doesn't
No,
matter.
it's
just-
winning. It's winning the
Wow,
coin.
okay.
So Chiefs win the coin toss, bet the Eagles. Eagles win
Okay.
the coin toss, and it's going to be obviously right in play or get it right as the game's about
that's
to
good.
start. But one of these things has to hit. That's happened freaking last 7 years.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
maybe this one.
You know, it's always a sneaky good one, but I don't think this game doesn't seem right. My brother actually has hit this before. The safety. Safety is I think the odds have actually leveled out. There used to be really
Yeah.
great odds in favor of the bettor, and I think that the safety is now.
I will speak on behalf of Jason Scott. That is one prop that the book does not want because
Yeah.
there is a heavy liability on that.
Yeah.
So, and to that point, I mean, a lot of people bet it. You just put a couple bucks on it. It's a huge return. So we do not want that at BetMGM.
So maybe I should. And this is live, so we can't cut that.
No, we're not going to cut that. We're just going to let everybody know the book does not want that.
And what's best for the book, too, is Chiefs winning.
Right now,
at
what's
this
best? Yep, exactly. We obviously took that big $1 million bet.
Yeah.
So right now the money's leaning towards Eagles. Obviously, we have a couple days to go, and we'll see. Like I haven't placed any bets yet. Usually for me, it's Thursday, Friday when I start, so we haven't seen
Okay.
a lot of the money come in yet.
And
so
typically,
time will
what
tell.
day is I would think Saturday. Just
Yeah.
The casual bettor.
I think you start to see it getting Friday late into
Yeah.
Saturday, and then obviously Sunday. It's a mad rush from 8 a.m. when you wake up all the way till the
Man.
game kicks off.
So how does it work? And again, if this is too much of like behind the curtain, you could just say like, Jerry, keep it moving. But if I wanted to bet $1 million on the Chiefs to win, like can I just
You just
deposit?
Venmo Pete.
Can I just do that, or is there like a process? There's got to be a process for a bet like that, right?
We have
I know
to
I
do-
sound like a noob, as they say in gaming right now.
Oh, you're no betting noob.
When we have a beer with Jason later,
We'll talk about that.
But we
I
have
don't want to bet $1 million on anything, by the way.
We have a process. Obviously,
calling
we
your
follow our
wife
due
right
diligence
now.
and vet and make sure that someone's doing the right thing. So we're
Right.
not going to let anybody do it. But
Right, not anyone could do it. If you're listening out, if you were going to bet $1 million on the
Yeah.
Eagles, you can't. Not anyone can do it, or on the Chiefs. Sorry.
Okay, I've got a question too.
Yeah.
Game total went up just 1 point, 49.5 to 50.5. And because of the casual bettors and that a lot of people don't have skin in the game, this isn't a normal NFL Sunday with every game, obviously. What's a good strategy to the game total? Because playoff games underhit.
I just took a bunch of overs. So I
Yeah?
think it's hard to say there's a strategy for it. For me, is Mahomes healthy? What's the strategy there with that? I don't know. I'm a guy who can't bet an under.
It's a tale as old as
cannot do it.
time. Olivia's just telling us a 7 unders hit, right?
playoffs.
And in my mind, I'm like, well, I can't bet that.
I like the
I'm
under.
trying to go through all these props and find an under that I love. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, yeah, I got nothing.
I had something with because the odds were good on under Mahomes 249.5 yards or whatever in a single game. I think in a one game, and I'm just like, I don't want to root for that.
And
it might be the smart move, but
when you have example, if the Niners were in this game, they have a strong defense and.
How is he still talking about the Niners?
Hear me
They're not
out.
in the
Hear
damn
me out.
game.
Maybe you take the under because you know there's a great defense,
gotcha, I
but you have
gotcha.
such explosive offenses.
Yeah.
Like we haven't even named half the weapons on the Chiefs, and even
well, see, but
Close.
right before you came on though, I said okay, real quick before we start to begin the wrap up. We may never wrap.
no.
But in my mind, when you look taking quarterback out of play, when you start going like skill position players, I think Kelsey's one. And then I think you name like 3 Eagles at least before you get to the next Chief, right?
You probably go AJ,
Maybe 2?
Sanders, and maybe Devontae.
Right, I guess, or maybe you could say then you start getting to Pacheco, right?
That's I think Pacheco's the sneaky one that fits in that top 4.
Right.
But you're right. Then there's what receiver is next for Chiefs. It's the flavor of the week.
And Jerick McKinnon's going to prove me wrong and score 3 touchdowns.
You know
This
who's
is
hot?
insane.
Valdez-Scantling. He had 116 in the AFC Championship game, and in the previous 6, he had a total of 107.
And watch.
They fed him.
It's going to be Kadarius Toney this week. It's just
Yeah.
the way they run that offense.
And CEH is activated.
CEH is activated, so you never know where he's going to jump into this.
Is he good? Listen.
Now, have we listed all of Chiefs' weapons? Yeah, okay. I think we've got it, yeah.
Sadly, we have
Edwards
more.
Alaire is a wait. Okay, I'm the
Yes,
guy
he's
who
a weapon.
I drafted Edwards Alaire in an auction draft for like $80 3 years
Never
ago, and that was arguably one of the worst picks ever. I'm not saying I just don't know how much he's gonna get the ball. Like McKinnon's good in the spots that they use him. I
Yeah.
think he's very, very dangerous.
Yep.
So I just wonder if he's gonna get the ball. I mean, he may be an emergency
We
situation.
will find out.
This live thing has done something to all of us.
Can we just
should've been
turn that
doing
into
this-
like
we
a
should have been doing this all
feature
year.
film?
You guys should have been doing this all year.
I know. No, we're all too busy. We don't want to see each other every week.
No.
Thanks everyone for tweeting at us too, because we had a lot of fun playing that game with you. And the first 5 who responded will be getting the bonus bet. I just got a little clarification from someone who's much above my pay grade. Pete, thanks for joining us again.
Thank
What
you,
a
guys.
season it's been.
It's been great.
Yeah.
Looking forward to more of it.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Well, that was fun. Wow. Don't you wish all of these were in person?
I will just say, live and being in person and just feeling the energy at the BetMGM Sportsbook. You know, there's like 9 other shows going on here while we record this
Yeah.
show. There's Live on the Line. There's You Bet.
All
There's
the Odyssey.
Right. So there's definitely an energy, and I look forward to doing this more. As we close the show,
Yes.
and what a blast. Thank you to Jay Glazer, Peter Andreu. Great props, great time, great trivia. Now let's talk emotional stuff, okay?
Well, it
You're-
started when I was 13.
Yeah.
And
This is one of your teams
Yeah.
in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Okay. In your mind, what needs to happen for the Chiefs to win this game?
Chiefs need to run the damn ball, coach.
Run the ball.
Yep, they do. And I think with all the gadgets and gizmos and the fantastical play calling of Andy Reid, I almost think they need to pare it back. Because here's what happens in the Super Bowl. You got everything you got. There are no more plays to hold back. So I think it's very tempting as a coach and for a genius play caller on both sides to want to get fancy. I think the Chiefs need to not be fancy. They need to keep Patrick just upright one more game. And it has been superhuman to watch his recovery and to see any footage from practice like we have. I think they need to run the ball, take advantage of a defense that allows like 6.6 yards per carry or something. They're 24th in the NFL in yards per carry allowed. Take advantage. I think it's pretty simple.
Well, I want to just say good luck to your Chiefs.
Thank you.
Good luck to all the bettors out there. I know it's going to be a crazy one. All the performers, we got some great performers. It's going to be a great halftime show.
We didn't even talk about Rihanna.
Oh yeah, I did. When I did a show earlier to talk about like the betting odds. What is she going to open the show with?
Oh.
And
Umbrella.
what song? No, we got
Close Umbrella.
Well, I say
with an extra
close with
syllable,
diamonds.
Yeah.
And I think Umbrella's in the middle. And I just don't know what she's going to open with. Either way, it's going to be great. And then we're going to have to start getting our minds into talking hoops after this because we're going to have nothing. Sundays are over. It's going to be soccer games. And I don't even know where we're going to go story time at the library. I don't even know what I'm going to do on Sundays. It's over for me.
I'm sure your family will tell you.
I'm a marked man. It's over for me. So
thanks everyone for listening all NFL season 2. We promise we are not done. We'll still be here every Tuesday recording and episodes up for you every Thursday to preview the weekend's actions. We'll get more into golf. For sure, basketball. This guy's an NBA junkie.
Yeah,
we have a lot of fun.
We didn't even talk Kyrie Irving, so we'll have a lot more Kyrie stuff. I know she's like eye roll, but we'll be there for you on Tuesday. And good luck to everybody out there. Let's close this out. Let's go get a drink.
Sorry, biggest thing is subscribe to the BetMGM Unleashed YouTube page because then you can watch all of our episodes.
Then get a drink.
And then go get a drink, and you can have a drink while you watch it. Who knows? I've done podcasts with a glass of wine before too. Thanks everyone for joining. This has been a lot of fun.